with Brian Kilmeade. Hi, Brian.
Hi, Brian.
See what's
How you
coming
doing?
up
That
on
was in the
Fox.
don't blame him. That was in the prompter. Okay, Rob? All right. First off, you have a new studio, but you don't have flowers. Okay, Jillian, go to work for there. Hey, let me tell you what we have over the next 3 hours, and if you guys sign off on it, I'll go through with it. Congressman Darrell Issa will be here. Not only does he understand the border being located right by San Diego, he also understands oversight and some of the outrageous statements were made yesterday at the IG hearing with Chris Wray and Horowitz, who did a fantastic job. We'll talk about that with Darrell Issa. We're also going to talk to Mark Meadows live from the Freedom Caucus. He'll talk about the IG report and also talk about what could be done on immigration. Speaking of that, we'll talk about communications and the White House with Mercedes Schlapp. What about yesterday's out-of-control meeting with Sarah Sanders, who was accused of refusing to go out and address the press without the Homeland Security Secretary Nielsen by her side, which is not true. But why wouldn't you want an expert by your side when you're talking about illegal immigrations and border control? We're going to be talking about that over the next 3 hours. An explosive show. Don't miss a minute. There'll be a quiz at the end.
We sign off on it. You can go ahead and proceed, Brian.
All right, good. I'll get started.
See you soon.
Warning, men should be 18 or older to purchase and use Ageless Male Max.
Guys, no more excuses. It's time to hit your prime by boosting your total testosterone with Ageless Male Max. And you can try your first 30-day supply free when you text 797979 and enter the word DUDE. Many testosterone products can only boost what's called free testosterone, but that's only about 3% of the testosterone in your body. With the ingredient in Ageless Male Max, you get a boost in total testosterone. It's a no-brainer. You'll also support greater increases in muscle size and reduce body fat percentage. Plus, get a quick 64% boost in nitric oxide, which can be handy in the gym and in the bedroom. Don't settle for anything less than a total T-Boost. Get your free supply by texting 797979 and entering DUDE. If your results are too intense, please decrease use. Text 797979 and enter DUDE.
As soon as I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh, I felt bad.
When I hear it now, I know that I was snoring, but I didn't know that it was that bad.
Would you like to put a stop to the snoring? Then you want Pure Sleep.
The first night he stopped snoring.
The second night it worked, and the third night, and the fourth night, and I was about in tears because it worked.
Now you too can stop the snoring instantly with Pure Sleep, the #1 snoring solution in the world, with a 15-year track record and over 1 million units sold.
Pure Sleep worked for me, and I recommend it to my patients.
When the throat relaxes during sleep, air is forced through the narrowed airway, causing vibration and snoring. Pure Sleep gently holds the jaw forward, opening the airway to stop the snoring. Just look at these CT scans of a person who snores. Here you can see the constricted airway. Now look how Pure Sleep opens that airway to stop the snoring.
What's great about Pure Sleep is that it's adjustable. You can actually fit it to the exact comfort level of your jaw. If you don't have something that can be adjusted, then it isn't going to work.
Pure Sleep started working the very first night.
It's small, it's comfortable. You don't even know you have it in.
Pure Sleep is comfortable and guaranteed to stop your snoring right away. We'll let you try Pure Sleep for 30 days before you buy it. All you do is cover the shipping and handling. Plus, we'll give you a second Pure Sleep with travel case at no extra cost.
If it weren't for Pure Sleep, we would be sleeping in separate beds.
I like him 24/7 now, not just 12 of the 24. I love him to death, but I didn't want to sleep with that anymore. So, yeah, we definitely needed Pure Sleep.
Visit 77puresleep.com. That's 77puresleep.com or call 1-800-210-9363. That's 1-800-210-9363.
Outrage is boiling over after an anti-police extremist is invited to speak to kids for Career Day.
The principal now suddenly retiring as parents demand to know why this person was invited in the first place.
Todd Pyro is here with the details. Good morning, Todd.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, that principal, Mary Beth Kunat, personally invited anti-police activist Ethan Ethos to speak to kids at the Chicago Public School. Ethos is a self-described radical who routinely posts violent anti-police rhetoric online, so it's not like his platform should come as any shock to anybody. For example, after a Chicago police commander was shot and killed execution style back in February, Ethos posted online, "Blank him and his family." In an apology letter to parents before retiring, Kunat wrote that she brought in Ethos to talk about his poetry and civic work, but things went off the rails. Quote, "I was present when his narrative took a negative turn about policing, at which point I immediately intervened. I care about your children and would never intentionally expose them to or endorse this type of negativity." That explanation did not sit well with parents.
I can't believe that she didn't vet him properly. Look on his Facebook account, because some of the things that are in his Facebook account are absolutely horrible.
He told them that all the police were bad and all the police wanted to kill people. I was very disappointed that someone would come into the school and preach hate about the police.
And get this, guys. Some parents said Kunat brought in Ethos because she was recently pressured to introduce, quote, anti-police philosophies to students.
Wow.
Gotta be kidding me.
It's really hard to believe. I mean, I'm sure people are just angry. People who don't even have a relationship with that school or that town.
And
people
again,
all over the country.
We keep going back to that stat that sadly we have to report. The number of officers dying in the line of duty this year has reached ridiculous proportions.
It's things like this. Yeah.
So what are people saying?
Yeah, they're outraged, obviously, as well. Ron on Twitter writes, "What kind of school system allowed someone to bring in a cop killer proponent to speak to their students?" That seems like a logical question. Ben on Facebook says anti-law enforcement culture is instrumental to perpetuating the crime culture in Chicago. Middle schoolers are very impressionable, not good. And KJ tweets, "The person that invited this guy is obviously anti-police and wants to brainwash the students into hating the police also." This is just extremely disturbing on so many levels.
Wow.
Shameful.
Yeah, really.
All right, Todd.
Todd, thanks.
Thank
No problem.
you. Well, let's lighten the mood a little bit here and bring you a story that is just pretty amazing. Army specialist Cameron Henley hitting a home run, returning home from deployment to surprise his fiancée. But he had an even bigger surprise planned after walking out on the baseball field. Cameron got down on one knee and asked his girlfriend, Madison, to marry him. And the newly engaged couple, Cameron Henley and his new fiancée, Madison Ollinger, join us now. Thank you for joining me this morning. First of all, congratulations. How are you feeling now that this has gone viral throughout the country?
I mean, I definitely didn't think it would get this much publicity. How do you feel about it?
I know I didn't expect it. It's kind of cool, though.
Now, Cameron, tell me about your deployment. You were overseas for the last 9 months, I understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Where were you?
I was in Syria.
And you knew you wanted to do this once you got home?
It had to get planned before I was home, but it was a couple weeks out when we planned the ball game. It was a few months out when we started talking about the engagement.
And so how long have you guys been dating? How long have you known each other?
We've known each other since my sophomore year in high school and her freshman year in high school. We've been dating since year. So.
Madison, tell me, when you went to the game that night, what you were expecting was going to happen.
I mean, I just thought I was going to a regular baseball game, but then in our tickets, they had something saying that I was going to be the honorary manager, and I didn't want to do it. I basically had to be forced by his mom to go out there.
And so what were you expecting, though? What did that role entail?
They told me I just had to go out there and hand the card to the referee, and I just thought that was it, and I would just have to go out there and shake hands with the coaches and then walk back out.
So at what point did you realize, oh my goodness, this is happening?
Well, I didn't realize the crowd was already cheering that he was out there, and then I heard them announce it over the intercom, and I was like, oh my gosh, what?
So what are your plans going forward? When do you guys plan to get married?
So we're looking at not this December, but next December.
Okay.
And not an exact date yet, but hopefully everything works out.
And Cameron,
as long as he Go
ahead.
Oh, it's just as long there's rumor of another deployment, but so if that happens, we're not exactly sure when. But
Cameron, what does it mean to you to serve and to serve for this country?
Honestly, it's just something I always wanted to do. It's just the love for a team, really. I grew up playing sports, and the camaraderie that you get in the military is like no other.
Well, we thank you for your service, and we wish you guys a wonderful marriage, and congratulations. Thank you again for being here with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
It is 6 minutes until the top of the hour. A circus goes off the rails when a bear attacks its handler in front of a packed audience. The terrifying scene all caught on camera. And that's not chocolate on these kids' faces. The hilarious story behind this viral photo.
Introducing the new Jaguar E-Pace. For great offers, visit your local Jaguar retailer today.
All across America, people are falling in love with the Hurricane.
I love my Hurricane. I wouldn't go a day without it.
I love how secure I feel with my Hurricane.
I love my Hurricane. It lets me go everywhere.
The Hurricane is the #1 selling cane from coast to coast, and it's available with a money-back guarantee. Americans everywhere really love that too.
I love my Hurricane.
They love how it helps them walk on any surface, and they love how it stands on its own. They love how it folds and unfolds in seconds, always ready when they need it.
What can I say? I love my Hurricane.
I love my Hurricane. It lets me go everywhere. I love that my Hurricane folds up easily.
Order your Hurricane at our legendary low price with a worry-free 100% money-back guarantee plus free shipping. Go to hurricane.com and enter the code below. That's hurricane.com. Also available at these fine retailers.
You're almost out of time, so don't ignore this reminder. Right now, save $400 on a Bowflex Max Trainer, the 14-minute total body workout that combines the low-impact motion of an elliptical with the calorie-burning power of a stepper.
The Max Trainer kicked my butt. A lot of sweat. I lost 15.5 pounds in 10 weeks. It is the fastest workout I've ever done.
Time is running out. To get summer fit, act now and save $400, including free shipping. Plus, receive a live one-on-one training session and personalized workout plan, absolutely free.
14 minutes is all it takes, and you'd feel that burn. I cut my body fat in half with the Max Trainer.
The Max Trainer's console guides you through 14 minutes of intervals, short bursts of effort followed by longer periods of rest, so you can burn more calories in every workout.
You feel it in your arms, your core, everywhere. Thanks to Max, I'm in the best shape of my life.
Call or go to ordermaxtrainer.com and save $400 before time runs out on this offer.
My name is Jeff Sheldon, and I'm the founder of UGG-Monk. Before ShipStation, it was crazy. Like, it's great when you see, 100 orders come in, but then you realize I got 100 orders that I actually have to ship out. ShipStation streamlined that whole process. The order data, the weights of the items, everything is seamlessly put into ShipStation. So when we print the shipping label, everything's pretty much done. It's so much easier. So now we're ready, bring on the orders.
ShipStation, the #1 choice of online sellers. Go to shipstation.com/TV and get 2 months free.
How do you win at business? Stay at La Quinta, where we're changing with stylish makeovers. Then, at your next meeting, set your seat height to its maximum level. Bravo, tall meeting man. Start winning today. Book now at lq.com.
He's one of the greatest to ever play the game.
All I wanted to do was to win and to entertain the fans.
Go inside Magic's world, his legacy, and the fight that almost took his life. The NBA legend kicks off a new season of Objectified, June 24th on Fox News Channel.
Good morning and welcome back. Time for the good, the bad, and the ugly. As always, we start with the good. An off-duty corrections officer hailed a hero for rescuing a woman moments before her car erupted in flames. The officer pulling the woman out of the car in New Jersey after watching it crash, then noticing a fire under the hood. The car exploded 2 minutes later. When police arrived, the driver will be okay.
That is crazy. Next, the bad. A circus bear taking matters into his own paws after being forced to ride a skateboard during a show in Russia. I don't like seeing this either. The angry animal attacks one of the handlers, pinning him to the ground. As the audience watches in horror, the man eventually stood up, did not appear hurt. Can't blame the bear.
Wow. Okay, and finally, the ugly. Toddlers go wild and get bronzed when they break into their mom's self-tanner. The boys covering themselves head to toe in orange and brown blotches at their home in Scotland. Mom says they got into the mess when she turned her back for just a moment. You got to put that on evenly, guys.
That's all it takes, just a moment.
Thanks for joining us in our new studio.
See you later.
The United States will not be a migrant camp.
You have to put the blame on the parents. They are choosing to enter between the ports of entry. They know they will be separated.
The House Judiciary Committee announced they will be issuing a subpoena to anti-Trump FBI agent Peter Strzok.
I can't think of something more concerning than a law enforcement officer suggesting that they're going to try and use their powers to affect an election.
This billboard taken down after a Dallas newspaper columnist and the mayor took offense with the message.
America is a Christian nation is actually a quote from John Jay, the first Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. This is hardly an un-American or divisive idea.
President Trump directing his trade representative to identify $200 billion worth of Chinese goods that could be hit with a 10% tariff.
I'm hereby directing the Department of Defense and Pentagon to establish a Space Force as the 6th branch of the armed forces.
Yes, you're just breathing, just trying to break even. Sometimes your heart's pounding out of your chest, sometimes it's just beating.
We are living in that town, the Big Apple, here, New York City. Welcome aboard, folks, the mezzanine level. Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday. You know, we get ready all day long for these 3 hours that we share, and we love to do it each and every morning right here on Fox & Friends.
Yeah, right after the show, we go to bed. And
Pretty
we just
much.
get ready.
Well, we start preparing. It's
we have
an
a whole team
all-day
back
deal.
there, down there, that has been here all night preparing for us. And
Right.
we're going to bring you the news today. Immigration, probably number one on the docket today on all networks. As you flip across, hopefully you won't. You'll stay with us. But immigration reform is at the top of the agenda on Capitol Hill, and the president is actually going to the Hill. He's going to talk to House Republicans and meet with them and try to close some of these immigration loopholes.
Yeah, they got 2 immigration reform packages ready to be voted on in the House. This is we get a new look inside one of the immigrant detention centers at the border. Special thanks to Griff.
Griff Jenkins is live in McAllen, Texas. And Griff, you're outside one of the detention centers, and I know your intention is to try to get inside and take a look, right?
That would be, guys, and you know we've seen the heart-wrenching images, but these images we're showing you now, these are inside this one in McAllen. This is the Rio Grande Valley sector, one of the heaviest trafficked, and why the administration says that they've had this massive uptick, 50,000 plus illegal crossings a month for the last 3 months. But as we have certainly entered a national debate over how these families and these children are being treated, the president says he will not have migrant camps. Take a listen.
The United States will not be a migrant camp, and it will not be a refugee holding facility. If the Democrats would sit down instead of obstructing, we could have something done very quickly.
And the Secretary of Homeland Security, Kirstjen Nielsen, took to the White House podium yesterday to defend her policy of what's happening. Here's what she said.
This entire crisis, just to be clear, is not new. It's been occurring and expanded over many decades. But currently, it is the exclusive product of loopholes in our federal immigration laws that prevent illegal immigrant minors and family members from being detained and removed to their home countries.
Those loopholes are important, guys. There's three particularly. The first is the 2008 Trafficking Victims Prevention Reauthorization Act under President George W. Bush. The second is reforming the asylum policies. They say asylum request claims have been up 1,700% over the last decade. And finally, a 1997 Florida settlement that happened under President Bill Clinton that provided for a means for families not to be separated at detention. And part of the reason why Senator Cruz is now the first Republican piece of legislation offering to try and get funding, keyword funding, to keep some families together. But we are certainly here at Ground Zero in McAllen, Texas, at one of these biggest processing centers. We're going to try and get in there, guys, and we're going to try and speak with the sector chief, Manuel Padilla, and find out what's going on.
That's great. All right, Griff, down in Texas, we thank you very much. So it's very clear, the president and the White House made it crystal clear yesterday they're going to continue this maximum pressure policy of separating parents from children at the border to make the point that that is the law of the land. You don't like it, change the law. Also, it's a message to people who are thinking about coming into this country illegally. Don't do it, because you'll be arrested, and there's a possibility your children will be separated from them if they are, in fact, your children.
Well, the law is the law, and it was passed by Congress, as Griff was mentioning. You can't even really blame an administration. These are people, Republicans and Democrats, that are serving in the Senate and in the House, and they have to change this. If you don't like it, they need to change the plan. The TVPRA law says, and they're just following the law, these Border Patrol agents, they have to follow the law. When they find these children with their parents, this is what they have to do. They have to put the parents in the custody of the U.S. Marshal Service for pretrial determination. The child has to be transferred to the Department of Health and Human Services and then reclassified as an unaccompanied alien child. Then they're put into those shelters, and Jeff Sessions says that they're not being abused. He says the conditions are good. He said we spent $1 billion last year, your taxpayer dollars, to make sure these kids are safe.
Ted Cruz is moving through legislation. He's trying to solve the problem. Just get these numbers straight. Separation is the issue that has the first ladies, past and present, weighing in, saying they're upset about it. 68% of independents are not for the separation, 91% of Dems, and most Republicans. I get it. But here's the main issue. Figure out a way to keep parents and children together. But you know what the big issue is? You got 30,000 kids estimated are going to be here, non-citizens, flooding into our borders by the end of August, by the end of the summer. 250 a day. And as Nancy Pelosi steps over the homeless in San Francisco to hop on a plane to go to the border, to have a heart bleed for people from other countries that are coming here, understand we are $20 trillion in debt. We have classrooms that overrun. We have teachers buying their own supplies. These kids come in, fantastic, Oprah Winfrey. I'm glad you're upset about it. But these kids get fanned out to working class neighborhoods into our society, and then they have to be paid for by English as a second language, and then they got to be schooled, and a lot of them, sadly, when in my neighborhood, turn into MS-13. So the bottom line is, the thing is, these kids are coming across. You don't have to vilify somebody. You have to solve the issue.
Sure. That's what happens when the kids come into the country. Now, keep in mind, right now, the federal government, we're talking about these kids who are separated from the parents. Here is the statistic that is jaw-dropping. Right now, in custody, the federal government has 12,000 children in Department of Homeland Security custody. 12,000. 10,000 of them were sent to the United States alone.
Without their parents.
They came alone, and that's why Tom Homan says, blame the parents.
These parents themselves are using these children as pawns to gain entry to the United States, knowing that we can't detain them. And as far as the separation of families are concerned, you have to put the blame on the parents. They are choosing to enter between the ports of entry. They know they will be separated, but they want to blame the government when we were forced to do that. So let's put the blame where it lies, not on the fine men and women of the Border Patrol and ICE. We're enforcing the law.
I mean, I feel so bad for the Border Patrol. We've had a chance to meet them. You get a chance to talk about them. They're finally getting the attention and support they needed. And now they're being vilified as the bad guys. They're forced to run a daycare center, put up these now 10 cities in our country that you see in Syria. Now we're going to convert how many more Walmarts and Kmarts into facilities for children. And even if there is no separation, we have to warehouse house people because other countries are pushing them our direction or they're choosing to come here.
You mentioned.
And what about all those people waiting online to come here legally? Why is it fair for them to go to the back of the line as they pay the fees, the green card fees and everything else, hoping to get processed?
You mentioned Ted Cruz. He's introducing legislation this week. He says it's going to be called the Protecting Kids and Parents Act. He wants to keep the families together while their cases are pending. We heard from Alan Dershowitz yesterday. He was saying that they should be sent back to their home countries together as a team, mom, dad, and the kids, and then be taught how to enter our country legally the right way.
Sure. And the key word there, legal. And that's what the administration says. We're simply following the laws. You don't like the laws, Congress change them. Nonetheless, if you watch TV in the last 24 hours, the villain here, the Trump administration.
What is it that they are thinking? Do they think these children deserve less than their children do in terms of care and love?
Those who selectively use the Bible to justify this cruelty are ignoring a central tenet of Christianity. Jesus said, "Suffer the little children unto me." He did not say, "Let the children suffer."
We're operating with a white nationalist government that will take children hostage to get what they want.
All I can say after talking to the people, watching the people, listening to the people, that the Statue of Liberty, I think, is weeping right now.
Look, nobody wants kids separated from their children, from their parents. Something has got to be done. Ben Shapiro says, you know what? I'm not going to say what Ben Shapiro's going to say. Here's Ben Shapiro.
I do find it somewhat suspicious that the media have decided to jump both feet on the bandwagon as though this is some sort of great human rights catastrophe brought on by the Trump administration, when, of course, all of this started under the Obama administration, or at least it was happening under the Obama administration. That under the Obama administration and under the Bush administration, really, immigration surges were rooted in government policy. Some of the lies being told are that Trump is randomly deciding to separate kids at the border. He doesn't have to do that. He does have to do that by operation of law. The only thing the Trump administration is doing differently is they are treating everyone who is crossing the border illegally as an illegal immigrant for prosecution, for purposes of prosecution. And then because you're doing that, the kids can't stay in custody with the parents longer than 20 days.
Democrats were sincerely looking to attack the problem. They'd either they'd address Senator Cruz's legislation or have their own to address it. So then they would look like heroes solving an issue. But President Trump didn't create this. But what he's trying to do, even though Kirstjen Nielsen mysteriously did not say this, they're trying to do what John Kelly said when he was Homeland Security Secretary. Create a deterrent so people in these other countries will say, I can't get into that country like I used to. I can't just walk across the border and get in there. I have to come up with another option. Or they go to the port of entry and they claim refugee status. Because it is a deterrent, because we can't take in the whole world's population. It's not possible. We're already defending the free world with all of our taxpayer dollars. Now we have to feed and clothe the free world?
Well, just keep in mind why we have these laws. It's to keep our country safe. It is to prevent the drugs from coming over, to prevent MS-13 from coming over and coming into your neighborhood, Brian. That's the reason. These people just have to be vetted. That's it. It's not that anyone wants parents separated from their kids.
Right. Ultimately, the laws need to be changed. Everybody knows that. Nobody wants to see the kids separated from their parents. But what's going to happen tonight is the President of the United States is going to go up to Capitol Hill, and he's going to meet with House Republicans, and he is going to clarify his support for a bill that does something about the Dreamers situation in this country. So we've got a busy day.
He tried to do something about DACA, and
I know.
Didn't happen.
Yeah, we'll see if something moves through the House. Hey, Jillian.
Hey, good morning to you guys. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday to you. Let's start off with some severe weather. Dangerous flooding turning deadly in the Midwest. A man killed when his pickup truck was swept away in Wisconsin. Incredible video showing a road completely destroyed by the storm and a state of emergency underway in parts of Michigan. Flash floods washing away roads and causing dozens of sinkholes. More rain is on the way across the country. Fears of a trade war are growing. China now accusing President Trump of blackmail in response to his threat of more tariffs. The president says he will slap a 10% tax on another $200 billion worth of Chinese goods unless Beijing reverses course. It comes days after the U.S. announced the first round of tariffs and China hit back with retaliatory fees. The U.S. had a record $375 billion trade deficit with China in 2017. That's a look at your headlines. I will send it back to you.
More maximum pressure.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, Jillian.
Thanks, John.
All right. What can we expect from day 2 of Michael Horowitz, the Inspector General, and Christopher Wray, the FBI Director, in the hot seat? Congressman Darrell Issa will be at the hearing. We're going to ask him what he's going to ask them coming up.
Plus, Richard Painter just unveiled his first Senate campaign ad, and it's setting the internet on fire for all the wrong reasons.
There is an inferno raging in Washington, but here in the land of 10,000 lakes, we know how to put out a fire.
Fox and Friends is brought to you by the Capital One Venture Card. What's in your wallet?
I have to tell you something incredible. Capital One has partnered with Hotels.com to give venture cardholders 10 miles on every dollar they spend at thousands of hotels. All you have to do is pay with this at Hotels.com/venture.
10 miles per dollar? That is incredible. I have the chills.
Because you're so excited.
Because ice is cold. And because of all those miles.
Obviously. What's in your wallet?
I'm not sure. What's in your wallet?
DirecTV Now gives you more for your thing. Get all the good stuff about TV without all the bad stuff.
Yes.
You can still stream your favorite shows.
Yes.
With no annual contract.
Wait, what?
It's live TV.
Yes.
With no satellites.
What?
And no bulky hardware.
No bulky hardware.
Isn't that great news?
Yes.
No.
Try DirecTV Now for $10 a month for 3 months. More for your thing. That's our thing. Visit DirecTVNow.com.
Well, I got scar tissue there. Same thing with any dent or dings on this truck. They all got a story about what happened to them.
It was raining. There was only one way out. I could feel the barbed wire was just digging into the paint.
2 bulls were fighting. Bam, hit the truck. Try explaining that to your insurance company.
Another ding, another scratch. It'll just be another chapter in the story.
Every scar tells a story, and you can tell a lot more stories when your truck is a Chevy Silverado, the most dependable, longest-lasting, full-size pickups on the road.
Give summer barbecues a gourmet upgrade with Omaha Steaks. Get a never-seen-before Omaha Steaks offer. The Summer Grilling Package worth $202 for the combo price of just $49.99. That's 75% off with this limited-time offer. Every order is 100% money-back guaranteed with steaks, sides, dessert, and more. 4 filet mignon, 4 boneless pork chops, 4 boneless chicken breasts, 4 potatoes au gratin, 4 Omaha Steaks burgers, and 4 caramel apple tartlets. Right now, your order will include 4 classic juicy Omaha Steaks burgers free. And you'll get a special sample of Omaha Steaks signature seasoning. Your order will be delivered to your door or anywhere you choose. Search Summer 49 on omahasteaks.com today to get the Summer Grilling Package, a $202 value for just $49.99 on this special offer. Enjoy the best backyard grilling ever or give it as a gift with Omaha Steaks. Search Summer 49 on omahasteaks.com to order today.
Finally, a truly non-toxic feeding system is now available for your dog or cat. The Pet Comfort Feeding System by WeatherTech, with bowls made from 100% U.S. stainless steel, lead-free, radiation-free, and the only bowls to be certified by the NSF. The elevated stand locks to the non-slip mat, and both are made from an FDA-approved material enhanced with antimicrobial and antifungal additives. Trust the way you feed your pet. Order the perfect size and color at petcomfort.com.
It's one of life's most basic needs. So why do nearly 800 million people suffer from a lack of clean water? That's completely unacceptable to me. I'm Manny Singh, president of Koch Membrane Systems, and we're working to help solve this global challenge. In places like Sao Paulo, Brazil, we've provided the technology to filter and purify the city's water supply, so nobody has to go thirsty.
DOJ Inspector Michael Horowitz and FBI Director Chris Wray back on the hot seat for day 2 of testimony. Today, they'll face the House Judiciary Committee and more. So what do lawmakers want answered? A member of that committee, former Oversight Chairman Darrell Issa. Congressman, great to see you. I know you watched Senate yesterday. There were some legitimate senators like Mike Lee and Lindsey Graham who wanted answers and others who wanted just to speak. How do you build off the Senate, what you saw in those hours on the hot seat?
Well, you're right. A few members did ask questions that can be, for the record, where is the Department of Justice going? Where has it been? Where is the FBI going? And building on that, the question has to be, what is the standard? Under past investigations, nobody was held accountable. The IRS scandal, Solyndra. Obviously, now we're finding that they don't think they have enough, even when people conspire to have a, quote, insurance policy against the president. So what is the standard for the American people to expect? And then aren't we going to have a higher standard for the Department of Justice lawyers, for the Department of Justice FBI agents, for at what point is it bias? You know, yesterday you heard Michael Horowitz contort and try to deal with the term bias. And at one point he got, it's not bias, trying to explain that, of course, these people had clear bias. The question is, did they have criminal bias? Did they have bias that he could execute on? And I think we have to get the American people to understand, of course they had bias, of course they had adverse process, and of course they wanted to do the president in. Now the question is, was it a criminal conspiracy? And that seems to be where the IG draws the line. He doesn't seem to have a criminal conspiracy, but he certainly has a conspiracy built on bias.
Right. Okay, he might, because Andy McCabe doesn't remember the meeting in his office that Peter Strzok referred to Lisa Page. Right. We don't know the identities of the other people saying horrible things about Trump voters and Trump himself for some mysterious reason. Are you going to drill down on that?
Absolutely. I mean, I want to know, first of all, I want to know what the insurance plan was. And are we ever going to know that? I want to know why people are still working for the Department of Justice and the FBI who clearly showed wrongdoing. You know, there's this law, and it sounds terrible, but there's a law that says you're not allowed to circumvent the system and hide your email and text using private. And yet every time somebody does it, right, there's no consequence. There's got to begin to be some consequence to circumventing the law to do things you're not supposed to do.
And Chairman, also James Comey using his private email for work stuff, him leaking to the New York Times, that's up for debate. And also you have to wonder too why they went out of their way to make sure that Hillary Clinton wasn't prosecuted, because you can't stop Donald Trump without Hillary Clinton. You aren't going to do that with Bernie Sanders. So I look forward to your 5 minutes that you get with Ray as well as Horowitz. Thanks, Daryl.
Thanks, Brian.
Straight ahead. Can't prove you're a citizen? No problem. The state where apparently you don't have to live in America to vote. And Pastor Robert Jeffers put up this billboard in Texas saying America is a Christian nation, but he's being forced to take it down because some people got offended. The pastor responds. Next, we'll zoom out and then bring the music up and then go to break.
At Airborne Wireless Network, our team's answering the question, what is the future of the internet? A connection faster than the morning train? High-speed bandwidth in rural America? Video conferencing from 30,000 feet? Our technology is leading the way to make that and much more reality. We've got a practical solution for solving the world's connectivity challenges so the future can mean internet for all. Airborne Wireless Network, redefining global connectivity.
If you've been turned down for a mortgage because of credit or tax return issues, Cash Call Mortgage now has credit and income-solving mortgages for people like you. Just call 855-890-CASH and we'll work with you to find a solution to your mortgage issues.
If your moderate to severe ulcerative colitis or Crohn's symptoms are holding you back and your current treatment hasn't worked well enough, it may be time for a change. Ask your doctor about Entyvio, the only biologic developed and approved just for UC and Crohn's. Entyvio works at the site of inflammation in the GI tract and is clinically proven to help many patients achieve both symptom relief and remission. Infusion and serious allergic reactions can happen during or after treatment. Entyvio may increase risk of infection, which can be serious. PML, a rare, serious, potentially fatal brain infection caused by a virus, may be possible. This condition has not been reported with Entyvio. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, experience frequent infections, or have flu-like symptoms or sores. Liver problems can occur with Entyvio. If your UC or Crohn's treatment isn't working for you, ask your gastroenterologist about Entyvio. Entyvio, relief and remission within reach.
The political thriller of the decade. This book moves like Air Force One, big and fast. Bravo, James Patterson and Bill Clinton. Don't miss, the president is missing.
It's me, your Sleep Number 360 smart bed checking in. Last night, I warmed your feet so you fell asleep faster. I sensed you roll over and automatically softened your side to melt away pressure points and keep you sleeping blissfully. At 2 a.m., this happened. So, I took care of it. Does your bed do that? I'm the new Sleep Number 360 smart bed. Now you can wake up to smarter sleep. Let's meet, only at a Sleep Number store.
I was right out of college and I was starting job interviews, and I already noticed that my teeth were starting to shift. When I heard of Smile Direct, I was so excited.
Let Smile Direct Club give you a smile you'll love for 60% less than braces by sending invisible aligners direct to you. Plus, we straighten most smiles in an average of 6 months.
So convenient. You don't have to go to an orthodontist every month. You can go into a Smile shop. They also have a kit that they can ship directly to your house. There's really no excuse to not try it.
Get started for 60% less at SmileDirectClub.com.
It is 6:24 now on this Tuesday. We get some quick headlines for you. First up, the Department of Justice asking the U.S. Supreme Court to reconsider a ban that limits funding to sanctuary cities. A lower court blocked the effort back in the month of April, which would have allowed the Department of Justice to withhold grants to agencies that do not apply or comply with federal immigration laws. The Solicitor General calling the ruling unjustifiable. And proof of citizenship no longer needed to vote in the state of Kansas. A federal judge striking down Kansas's voter ID law, saying it violates the constitutional right to vote. Kansas Secretary of State Chris Kobach is planning to appeal. All right, Ainsley.
Thank you, Steve. A church in Texas celebrating America as a Christian nation on billboards. There's a picture of one of the billboards. It now has to take them down because people are offended. Pastor Robert Jeffress is the pastor of that church, First Baptist Church in Dallas, and he's also a Fox News contributor. Good morning to you, Pastor Jeffress. Good to see you.
Thanks, Ainsley.
You're welcome. So how did you feel when you were silenced, when they said these billboards are not going up?
Well, we were really surprised. And what happened was we had these billboards, Ainsley, to support our upcoming patriotic service this coming Sunday. And I'm going to be bringing a special message titled America is a Christian Nation, in which I recount the historical evidence for the Christian foundation of our country. Well, as soon as the billboards went up, the Dallas Morning News wrote a scathing article about these billboards, accusing me of being hateful and divisive with these words. And they interviewed the mayor of Dallas, who agreed with that assessment and said that I was divisive and that these words do not represent who Dallas is. 24 hours later, we received notice from the billboard company that they were going to take down the billboards, and they cited this Dallas Morning News article that contained the mayor's comments. And Ainsley, I want to be clear about this. We support the right of the billboard company not to put out a message they disagree with, just like that wedding cake baker. But what we don't support is the mayor of Dallas and his chief communications officer weighing in on this topic, showing hostility toward our church and directly or indirectly influencing the billboard company. The Supreme Court just said 2 weeks ago in that wedding cake case that government has to be neutral, not hostile toward religion, and we believe Mayor Mike Rawlings has shown hostility toward our church.
I was a little shocked when I read that the mayor was weighing in on this and saying that it was hateful, agreeing with that columnist from the Dallas Morning News, saying it was hateful and it was divisive. Why do you think he's saying that?
Well, he's very liberal, and it's interesting, Ainsley. A couple of years ago, when the American Atheist put up a billboard at Christmas time saying, "Skip church, Christianity is fake news," we didn't hear the mayor criticizing that or calling that divisive or saying that doesn't represent Dallas. But for some reason, he feels threatened by the message that America is a Christian nation. And by the way, that phrase is not something I originated. That came from John Jay, the first Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. And that phrase is also found in 2 Supreme Court rulings, 1844 and 1892.
Can you expand a little bit more on what you're planning on preaching? You said the Freedom Sunday is June 24th, and America is a Christian Nation is the title. Can you give us a little bit more about what you're going to be preaching on?
Yes, look, it's true that our nation has always welcomed people of all faiths or no faiths, but it's also equally true that by and large our founders were Orthodox Christians who believed that the success of our nation depended upon our fidelity to God and to His Word. And that's what we're going to be talking about, the historical evidence for that. We're going to have great patriotic music. We're going to welcome and recognize our armed forces. The American Atheist Group has announced they're going to be protesting at our church this Sunday. We welcome them and anyone to come hear the truth and decide for yourself whether or not America is a Christian nation.
Pastor Jeffress, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Ainsley.
You're welcome. All right, parents are furious after a principal invites an anti-police extremist to career day.
He told them that all the police were bad and all the police wanted to kill people.
How the school is responding this morning, we'll tell you that. And lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are fighting over how to solve the immigration crisis. Is there a solution that we can all agree on for those kids and for their parents? Our panel is here to discuss that, coming up next.
When we were dating, we used to get excited about things like concert tickets or a new snowboard. But that all changed when we bought a house.
Voila!
Matt started turning into his dad.
That's some good mulch. I'm awake. But it was pretty nifty when Jen showed me how easy it was to protect our home and auto with Progressive. Get this butterscotch out of here.
Progressive can't protect you from becoming your parents.
Took quite a bit of work because this was a lot. This is all staple.
But we can protect your home and auto when you bundle with us.
Cleaning floors with a mop and bucket is a hassle. Swiffer WetJet makes cleaning easy. It's safe to use on all finished surfaces, trapping dirt and liquid inside the pad. Plus, it prevents streaks better than a microfiber strip mop. For a convenient clean, try Swiffer WetJet.
Billions of mouths, billions of problems. Morning breath, garlic breath, stinky breath? There's a TheraBreath for you. TheraBreath Fresh Breath Oral Rinse instantly fights all types of bad breath and works for 24 hours, so you can breathe easy. There's TheraBreath at Walmart.
If you have moderate to severe plaque psoriasis, little things can be a big deal. That's why there's Otezla. Otezla is not an injection or a cream. It's a pill that treats psoriasis differently. With Otezla, 75% clear skin is achievable after just 4 months, with reduced redness, thickness, and scaliness of plaques. And the Otezla prescribing information has no requirement for routine lab monitoring. Don't use if you're allergic to Otezla. Otezla may cause severe diarrhea, nausea, or vomiting. Tell your doctor if these occur. Otezla is associated with an increased risk of depression. Tell your doctor if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts or if these feelings develop. Some people taking Otezla reported weight loss. Your doctor should monitor your weight and may stop treatment. Other side effects include upper respiratory tract infection and headache. Tell your doctor about all the medicines you take and if you're pregnant or planning to be. Otezla, show more of you.
If you just sign that first
I'm
one
so
there.
sorry. I don't feel comfortable signing that.
I don't get the math here.
Was this the same car we talked about?
What's this dealer preparation fee?
I'm so sorry. This just is not.
What we talked about.
Car without the car salesman. Carvana, the new way to buy a car.
I'm about to start the Nature's Bounty Hair, Skin, and Nails Challenge, so my future self will thank me. Thank you. I become a model?
Yes. No.
Start the challenge today and try new tropical citrus flavor with collagen. Nature's Bounty.
I'm thinking of acquiring a competitor. Is now the right time?
Ask Markham.
Ever wonder where the people with all the answers get all the answers? Ask Markham. Accountants and advisors.
They could be murderers and thieves and so much else. So we want a safe country. And it starts with the borders. And that's the way it is. And again, we can do this very quickly if the Democrats come to the table.
The immigration debate reaching a boiling point across the country as outrage mounts over family separation at the border. President Trump will head to the Hill tonight ahead of the House votes on immigration bills. How can we find common ground? Here to weigh in, we've got a special panel, and I'll introduce you to them one at a time. First of all, can I see the hands of those of you who think we've got a big problem regarding immigration in this country? All right, y'all think it's a big problem. Can I see the hands of anybody who thinks that separating kids from their parents is a good idea? Okay, that's where we're going to start. We've got a problem, and it sounds like that big building behind you has the answer. But Chuck, it's politics, and you're a Democrat, you're a strategist. The Democrats and the Republicans right now are far apart.
This is a visual that nobody wants to see right now. Democrats don't want to see it. Republicans don't want to see it. And as a Texas Mexican that grew up in Texas, this is a very personal issue for my family who immigrated here. Many Americans' families immigrated here. Nobody wants to see a small child taken from their mother. And the problem, I think, is that people are playing too much politics on both sides. And what's suffering are the children and the mother in between. When you have mothers who are coming here, turning themselves in, not trying to sneak into the country, bringing little children with them saying we're fleeing for our lives, we should be doing more as Americans to stand up for them.
But David, it's not just politics, it's also the rule of law. Yesterday, we heard from the Department of Homeland Security Secretary, Kirstjen Nielsen, and we also heard from the president, said, look, these are the laws on the book, and we have a zero-tolerance policy. We're going to enforce them.
Look, nobody likes the optics, and the optics are bad on this. But the problem is there hasn't been a lot of solutions, Steve. Yeah, the emotion has been played out, and especially around Father's Day, the ripped from their, families issue played out. Democrats push that. But what about the solutions? There have been loopholes put in place, contradictory laws put in place, structures and processes that have not worked. And the Democrats primarily, and Republicans to blame for some of this on their part, have not done anything about it for 2 administrations now. This is not a new problem. The optics the Democrats pushed was the day one that President Trump came in, suddenly concentration camps were built, internment camps were built. It's dishonest, and it doesn't go to the solution. And we need real honest brokers who want to tackle the problem and fix the many aspects of it. And by the way, if you want asylum, there are ways to do it legally. Crossing the border illegally is not seeking asylum.
And you look just at the facts, and of the 12,000 kids who are currently being held by the federal government, 10,000 of them, Wendy, came into the country alone. So they were separated before they even got to the United States. You are the mother of a woman who was killed by somebody who was in this country illegally. You think about this all the time.
Every day.
So how do you fix it?
I just hope that President Trump continues down the path of fixing the problem. The separation of children and moms and dads is very sad, but they wouldn't be abused. They would be taken care of. But if your parent, if you come into the country illegally, that's a crime. So you've committed a crime. So
do you understand what the president is doing by saying, okay, we're going to enact the laws, we're going to enforce the laws of the land, separate the families if they try to come into the country illegally?
If that's what has to be done, I mean, I wouldn't want my daughter was brutally murdered, and it's the last thing a mother and father want to do is bury their own child. And this man was supposed to be deported 3 times. He had already been in jail for attempted murder.
Oh my goodness.
And he got out, and ICE let him go that very same day, and he killed my daughter 5 months later.
All right.
So.
I know. Our heart is with you. Michael Wilds is an immigration attorney, friend of the show, been on a million times talking about these issues. Michael, we can see the problem. There are big problems with immigration. Too many people come into the country illegally. Too many people are here. They don't have status. How do we fix it?
Well, first, I should say it's a privilege to be here. And Wendy, my heart goes out to you over your extraordinary loss. Thank God the overwhelming amount of people coming to our country are not murderers, are not criminals. And we have to fix this system. It's an extraordinary system, and there's a disingenuousness on both sides. Parents that would shield themselves with children, and yet nations that won't absorb our, the citizens of the world that are in harm's way. Yeah. It's really up to Congress and the president to step up. The inhumanity of what we're seeing now at detention
But Michael,
centers
the
with
two sides are
kids
so
is-
far apart. They're so dug in. They realize if we pass something, then we don't have that issue.
Well, they have to fix this because it goes to the onboarding of foreign students into our workforce. It goes to the very ethos of what our founding fathers established, a nation of immigrants. We're shooting ourselves in the foot if we don't get this right, if we don't invest in those tired, poor hands that will not only salute our flags.
Times are different. I'm sorry, Michael, but we have to put time and milieu into this. A time when people were coming here, when we had open lands, a much wider issue. We have different issues today. The problem is mixing two milieus, a time of the Statue of Liberty, of people coming here for a different reason at a different time versus today.
Well,
let's talk completely different.
Okay, let's talk to a fellow in the front row, Jose Magana Salgado. He's an immigrant legal resource center. He's also a DACA recipient. Jose, it sounds like the president is going up to Capitol Hill later today to talk to House Republicans about the two bills. One of the things he wants to do is come up with a bill that protects people like you who are in the country with Dreamer status.
You know, as a DACA recipient, being here in the country for 30 years, going to a Christian Baptist law school and working with 4,000 DACA recipients in my similar situation through the Dream US, we want this problem resolved. But we don't want a roadmap to citizenship that comes at the expense of other immigrant populations. Drastically cutting legal immigration, having taxpayers and not Mexico pay for a $23 billion wall, and gutting our asylum system, ending family separation by ensuring that kids are incarcerated with their parents. That is what the bills on Capitol Hill would do. Congressional Republicans are simply undermining President Trump. We need immigration reform that doesn't gut our asylum system, that recognizes that people under the Immigration and Nationality Act can come to this country fleeing persecution and legally apply for asylum.
Chain migration.
Family migration is something that this country was built upon. Many of the people, including lots of the people that work on Fox News, have relatives and ancestors.
Because you know, for every time one person gets in, they can bring in 30 family members as well, and that's a big problem.
Good. Family reunification was a hallmark of our immigration laws. Reuniting family. You're going to work harder no matter what station in life. If you're a lawyer, if you're a farmhand, if your family's there. Chain migration became a dirty word. Family reunification is a beautiful principle.
But we ignore the economics of this, and the fact is you cannot absorb all of the world's problems. You cannot support it financially. And if you bring this country down economically by importing poverty, when you bring people in who are incapable of taking advantage of what we provide in America, in the American dream and opportunity, then how do we actually sustain the nation to help other nations? We're ignoring the macroeconomic and the microeconomic effects of this, because if you can't afford the problem, then America suffers.
One of the problems is crime, and Patrick Ryder is in the front row. He's the Nassau County Police Commissioner. And Commissioner, one of the big problems is MS-13, and a lot of the people who are in your area in MS-13 came into the country illegally.
We had 6 murders last year from MS-13, vicious attacks, with 3 of those 6 were decapitated, 4 of them were buried in shallow graves, almost like they were taunting us to catch them. 3 of those kids were 15, never had a chance. Innocent kids growing up, good, hardworking parents here out in Nassau County. Our problem is communities. If we lose our communities when we go and we fight this immigration and we fight this MS-13 issue, we have to still strengthen those community bonds. If we lose them, we lose our community. With a 17% population, Hispanic, growing in Nassau County, we have to maintain those relationships.
And one of the problems is with all these people who come in, and if they're not properly vetted, and we've heard a million stories about that, sometimes that is a problem. It all comes down to politics. And we know that before the elections, that would be a great time to solve it. But can I see the hands of people here today who thinks President Trump honestly wants to solve the immigration problem? All right, we got 5, except Chuck, the Democratic strategist. How many think the Democrats honestly want to solve the problem? 2, 3. All right, who think the Republicans honestly want to solve the problem? You got 4 right there. It all comes down to politics. Chuck, you didn't hold up your hand for anything. You get the final word.
I think that a lot of this has to do with a lot of emotions, but the emotions are real people's lives. I think everybody had a good point. There's a couple points. Just because a brown kid is in MS-13 don't mean every brown kid is bad.
Of course
and the macroeconomics of this is my family came here undocumented generations ago, and now I pay hundreds of thousands of federal income tax every year. That shows that the system can work.
Wendy?
I just want to say one thing. I feel sad for families that are torn apart, but I'll never be able to see Casey again in this lifetime. She's permanently separated from me. It's like I'm living in my own personal hell because I can't see my daughter. I can't talk to my daughter. I can't do everything that a mom and a daughter should be doing. She's never going to get married. She's never going to have children. You know, they talk about dreamers. Well, Casey had dreams too. And now there's no way she'll be able to do that.
It is a gigantic problem, and our nation needs to address it, and we need to fix it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. This panel will return in a couple of hours for another discussion. That was great. Thank you for sharing. All right, coming up, remember when James Comey admitted under oath to leaking those memos to his pal about his meeting with President Trump? Well, the Department of Justice remembers, and now they're investigating Mr. Comey for a possible crime. How much trouble could he possibly be in? That guy knows, and he's next. And we showed you this adorable video, a toddler escaping her crib with a big assist from her big brother. Whole family's going to be on the show coming up.
For adults with advanced non-small cell lung cancer, previously treated with platinum-based chemotherapy, including those with an abnormal ALK or EGFR gene who've tried an FDA-approved targeted therapy, who wouldn't want a chance for another? Who'd say no to a? Who wouldn't want a chance to live longer? Opdivo, nivolumab. Over 40,000 patients have been prescribed Opdivo immunotherapy. Opdivo can cause your immune system to attack normal organs and tissues in your body and affect how they work. This may happen during or after treatment has ended and may become serious and lead to death. See your doctor right away if you experience new or worsening cough, chest pain, shortness of breath, diarrhea, severe stomach pain or tenderness, severe nausea or vomiting, extreme fatigue, constipation, excessive thirst or urine, swollen ankles, loss of appetite, rash, itching, headache, confusion, hallucinations, muscle or joint pain, flushing, fever or weakness, as this may keep these problems from becoming more serious. These are not all the possible side effects of Opdivo. Tell your doctor about all your medical conditions, including immune system problems or if you've had an organ transplant or lung, breathing, or liver problems. A chance to live longer, because who wouldn't want that? Ask your doctor about Opdivo. Thank you to all involved in Opdivo clinical trials.
I'm Jacqueline.
Hi, I'm Heather.
My name is Julene. I'm on Match because I'm ready to find my partner.
Looking for a real relationship?
I'm looking for a serious relationship.
With someone who can grow with me.
Check out Match right now for free.
Nothing is more American than the freedom that comes with owning your own land. So Mahindra wants to help landowners across America save big during Mahindra Dealer Days. Now through July 7th, enjoy up to $10,000 in tractor savings, or up to $1,700 in savings on utility vehicles. And our long-lasting powertrain warranties still come standard. Hurry in and celebrate the savings, America, during Mahindra Dealer Days.
My digestive system used to make me feel sluggish, but now I take Metamucil every day. It traps and removes the waste that weighs me down, so I feel lighter. Try Metamucil and begin to feel what lighter feels like.
Sorry, 1 second. It's loading. Look.
Let's speed this up, please. Thank you.
I used to be spellbound. Can we fix this phone tonight? It's really slow.
You could turn off the performance management feature.
Battery throttling.
Or you can just upgrade it.
The super fast Galaxy S9. Available now.
Good morning and welcome back. Outrage is boiling over after an anti-police extremist is invited to speak to kids at Career Day. Principal Mary Beth Kunat suddenly retiring after Ethan Ethos spoke to students at Wildwood Elementary School in Chicago.
He told them that all the police were bad and all the police wanted to kill people.
Kunat is apologizing, saying her intention was for Ethos to talk about poetry and civic work. Former George W. Bush ethics czar Richard Painter is running for Senate. And let's just say his first ad is blowing up the internet. Watch.
There is an inferno raging in Washington. But here in the land of 10,000 lakes, we know how to put out a fire.
But longtime Republican now seeking a Minnesota Senate seat as a Democrat. Let's look at your headlines. Send it back to you guys.
Yeah, if you've seen how critical he's been on the president, you knew he was running as a Democrat. Richard Painter. Now it's time for something else.
Well, back in the hot seat, DOJ Inspector General Michael Horowitz and the FBI Director Christopher Wray are facing another round of questioning today after yesterday's testimony revealed some potential new legal trouble for James Comey. Listen.
Are you investigating Comey's handling of his memos? And does that include the classification issues? And should Mr. Comey expect a report when it is complete?
We received a referral on that from the FBI. We are handling that referral, and we will issue a report.
Wow. Fox News senior judicial analyst Judge Andrew Napolitano joins us now to weigh in. They also brought up the fact that he was using his private email.
Gmail account.
Yeah,
talk about irony of ironies, investigating Hillary Clinton for using her private server while he's using a private email himself. According to the testimony yesterday, there was nothing classified in it. Of course, the Inspector General didn't see everything. He's going on the basis of the words of Jim Comey, testified to under oath, that yes, I did use a private email for FBI business, but no, there was nothing classified on it. That's issue number one. Issue number two, the referral. The FBI referred to the Inspector General the idea that he needs to investigate whether or not when Jim Comey released the memos of his conversations with the president, he violated DOJ policy, probably, violated the law, probably not. I'm saying probably because we don't know all the details, but that's what Mike Horowitz said he was investigating. But what I saw yesterday that startled me the most, it wasn't the Democrats getting their narrative out of this, that this has nothing to do with Russia, or the Republicans getting their narrative out of this, that the investigation of Hillary was so wide of the mark. We've never seen anything like it. It was obviously motivated by politics, no matter what you say. I saw a message from Chris Wray, the director of the FBI, to Devin Nunes. We are not giving up documents that are protected by privilege. What's protected by privilege? The Mueller documents that were shown to a grand jury, that reflect the thoughts and impressions of investigators and prosecutors, or where witnesses were promised confidentiality.
That's everything they want.
Exactly, Steve. That's everything that they want. So when that subpoena arrives today at the DOJ, they're going to go, I think, across the street to a federal court to ask that it be quashed. That means that a federal judge will get to look at all this stuff. There's tens of thousands of pages here in private and decide what stays secret and what the Congress gets.
Right.
Meanwhile, these two are going to be testifying all day today on the House side.
70 questioners today.
Yes.
And they all get 5 minutes.
Grassley said that he asked Comey to come and testify. He's asked him twice, and his spokesperson said he's out of the country, and then he went on his Twitter, and it shows that he's in Iowa.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Iowa? Not the Iowa caucuses.
He can do TV and he can do his book tour, but he can't come and talk to us.
He'd be wise not to testify.
He's Judge Napolitano, and he knows a lot about legal stuff. Meanwhile, next, White House Director of Strategic Communications, Mercedes Schlapp, live. That's her in a picture.
New Super Crispy grown in Idaho frozen fries, cut from 100% real Idaho potatoes. They bake up crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. New grown in Idaho Super Crispy fries. Super crispy.
For this new stepdad, caring for his daughter as if she's his own is an act of mutuality. Learn more or find an advisor at massmutual.com.
Introducing the new Jaguar E-Pace. For great offers, visit your local Jaguar retailer today.
I can't believe this came off my floors.
gross. My tile was still this dirty even after I mopped my floors.
Are you ready to see what you're missing every time you clean your floors? Introducing Flex Clean by Rug Doctor. It's our first ever true all-in-one floor cleaner. Deep clean every floor in your home with one amazing machine that leaves no doubt. You can see the dirt coming out. All floors, no exceptions. Flex Clean tackles carpets and rugs, wood and laminate floors, stone and tile. Only Flex Clean lets you change surfaces seamlessly.
From carpet to hardwood to tile.
Accidents, stains, my everyday cleaning.
It gets every floor in my home totally clean.
We know you have to see it to believe it, so we put Flex Clean to the test. Just watch how Flex Clean's powerful suction cuts through dirt and grime. No more sloppy mops. Flex Clean gets rid of sticky, gooey accidents and icky leaks with one clean sweep. Food and drinks on the carpet? No worries. Flex Clean sucks up stains so you can relax and get back to entertaining. And Rug Doctor knows pets, so no matter how furry your family is, Flex Clean is there to keep your floor cleaning routine fast and fresh. Here's how it works. The cleaning solution and rotating brushes dislodge dirt. Then powerful suction carries the dirty water into a separate tank, where it's safely contained until you dump it down the drain.
So disgusting, but really satisfying.
Flex Clean pivots and handles like a vacuum, only it does so much more because it deep cleans every floor.
I love that I can go from my area rugs to my hardwood floors in just 2 easy steps. I just change the nozzle, turn the knob. It's that easy. I'm ready to clean.
Now you can have Flex Clean delivered straight to your door. Call or go online to get yours. Order now and we'll include this exclusive upholstery tool that makes cleaning hard to reach places a snap. That's not all. We'll also include a trial size of our famous all-in-one cleaning solution. Don't miss out on this awesome Flex Clean deal. Call or go to flexclean.com right now.
Well, he promised to make America great again. Now a new poll shows Americans think President Trump is delivering. So how long can the left deny the numbers? We're going to debate it coming up a little later on. But right now, Todd Pyro joins us because outrage is boiling over. Todd, tell us a little bit about something that happened at a school.
This is really tough to sort of break down. I'm going to try to at least break it down for you. That principal in Chicago, Mary Beth Kunat, she personally invited anti-police activist Ethan Ethos to speak to kids at the Chicago Public School. Now, Ethos is a self-described radical who routinely posts violent anti-police rhetoric online. So it's really not like his platform should come as a shock. So why would you invite this individual to come speak to a bunch of middle schoolers? That's the question.
Career day.
Yeah, exactly. And here's one of the things that this individual wrote following a police shooting where an individual in the Chicago Police Department was executed. Ethos writes this: blank him and his family. In an apology letter to parents before retiring, Kunat wrote that she brought in Ethos to talk about his poetry and civic work, but things went off the rails. Then apologizes. I was present when his narrative took a negative turn about policing, at which point I immediately intervened. I care about your children and would never intentionally expose them to or endorse this type of negativity, but that explanation not sitting well with parents. And you know, parents are just so fired up about what's going on there. Basically, you might imagine what they're going to say. Why is this individual in my kid's school? This is a predominantly police community. Why would you bring in somebody who's so clearly anti-cop in his thinking? Obviously, a lot of reaction online. People in Chicago and around the country fired up about it.
Some are saying that she was under a lot of pressure to start having this anti-police rhetoric, having those discussions.
And that's a whole nother issue. Why are we forcing an educator to bring in that heightened a level of politics that is so polarizing? You can discuss the issues of the day with regard to police. That's taking it to another level.
Our children need to learn if they're in danger, they need to be able to go to the police. Police are their friends.
Well, the person who did the inviting has now retired suddenly. All right, Todd, thank you very much.
Thanks, Todd.
All right, meanwhile, he promised to make America great again, and now a new poll shows Americans think President Trump is delivering. So how long can the left deny the numbers? A debate is coming up.
Plus, White House Director of Strategic Communications, Mercedes Schlapp, and Congressman Mark Meadows are both here. They're going to be live with us.
You're headed down the highway when the guy in front slams on his brakes out of nowhere. You do too, but not in time. Hey, no big deal. You got a good record, and Liberty Mutual won't hold a grudge by raising your rates over one mistake. You hear that, Karen? Liberty Mutual doesn't hold grudges. How mature of them.
For drivers with accident forgiveness, Liberty Mutual won't raise their rates because of their first accident. Liberty stands with you. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
There are so many great reasons to buy the Honda HR-V. It's the modern utility crossover with sleek styling, great fuel economy ratings, and a spacious interior. Plus, the exclusive Magic Seat for added versatility. So whatever life brings, you can bring it with you. Find out for yourself why the 2018 Best SUV brand is perfect for city living or an outdoor adventure. Hurry into your local Honda dealer and test drive the HR-V today.
The political thriller of the decade. This book moves like Air Force One, big and fast. Bravo, James Patterson and Bill Clinton. Don't miss, the president is missing.
Ow! It's just not the same with back pain. Dones relieves back pain. Dones. We've had your backs back since way back. Also available in a cream.
I was right out of college and I was starting job interviews and I already noticed that my teeth were starting to shift. When I heard of Smile Direct, I was so excited.
Let Smile Direct Club give you a smile you'll love for 60% less than braces by sending invisible aligners direct to you. Plus, we straighten most smiles in an average of 6 months.
So convenient. You don't have to go to an orthodontist every month. You can go into a smile shop. They also have a kit that they can ship directly to your house. There's really no excuse to not try it.
Get started for 60% less at SmileDirectClub.com.
At Airborne Wireless Network, our team's answering the question, what is the future of the internet? A connection faster than the morning train? High-speed bandwidth in rural America? Video conferencing from 30,000 feet? Our technology is leading the way to make that and much more reality. We've got a practical solution for solving the world's connectivity challenges so the future can mean internet for all. Airborne Wireless Network, redefining global connectivity.
Let's begin. Yes or no? Do you want the same tools and seamless experience across web and tablet? Do you want $4.95 commissions for stocks, 50-cent options contracts, $1.50 futures contracts? What about a dedicated service team of trading specialists? Did you say yes? Good. Then it's time for Power E-Trade, the platform, price, and service that gives you the edge you need. Looks like we have a couple of seconds left. Let's do some card twirling. Twirling cards. E-Trade, the original place to invest online.
It is the beginning of the unraveling of democracy when the body who makes the laws tells the enforcement body not to enforce the law.
Who thinks President Trump honestly wants to solve the immigration problem? All right, we got 5.
Are you investigating Comey's handling of his memos?
We are handling that referral, and we will issue a report.
There's got to begin to be some consequence to circumventing the law to do things you're not supposed to do.
The president says he will slap a 10% tax on another $200 billion worth of Chinese goods unless Beijing reverses course.
The U.S. economy continues to fire on all cylinders. Look at this. A new Gallup poll. Satisfaction with the U.S. direction now at a 12-year high.
Get it started. Get it started. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started.
All right, let's get the second hour started, guys.
How musical of you.
It's 7 o'clock here on the East Coast. Good morning on this Tuesday.
Welcome aboard, folks. We got another busy 2 hours and plenty to talk about, Brian.
All right, let's begin with immigration reform because that's the top of almost everybody's agenda. The President of the United States is meeting with House Republicans today. He's got 2 plans that he wants to take a look at and say to the Republicans to their face, I'll back both of them.
This as we get a new inside look at one of the immigrant detention centers at the border.
We have dispatched our own Griff Jenkins to McAllen, Texas. He is outside one of the detention centers. He hopes to get inside one of them later today, and he joins us live. Hey, Griff.
Good morning, guys. This is one of the largest detention centers in the country. This is where the Border Patrol brings, whether you're an adult or a child, immediately here. Then adults go on to be processed by ICE. Children go with the HHS. And these photos we can show you are within this McAllen, Texas center where people have been brought. But one of the concerns as we entered this national dialogue over the humanity of how the zero tolerance policy has been carried out, the president says what he will not stand for is having migrant camps across the country. Take a listen.
The United States will not be a migrant camp, and it will not be a refugee holding facility. If the Democrats would sit down instead of obstructing, we could have something done very quickly.
Also yesterday, DHS Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen taken to the podium in the White House briefing room to defend her administration's actions. Take a listen.
Apprehension without detention and removal is not border security. We have repeatedly called on Congress to close these loopholes.
Now, these loopholes are very important. She says there are three. One goes back to 2008, the Trafficking Victim Prevention Act. The asylum policies need to be reformed because they say in the last decade it's been risen 1,700%, as well as the Flores Act going back to 1997. We are going to talk, guys, in the next hour with the sector chief here, Manuel Padilla. We will bring it to you live, and we will get answers. Back to you.
That's what we need. All right, Griff, thank you. So the president's going to be meeting with House Republicans tonight. He's made it very clear that he supports their immigration plans. He would like to see a bill that does protect the Dreamers. He met yesterday with Senators Shelby and Capito. I always do that wrong. Thank you. Both Republican senators. And he made it very clear he wants money to build the wall. And one of them said he is trying to get a down payment on the wall, probably in the neighborhood of $1.6 billion. But that is just barely, what, 10%, 15% of the $25 billion.
And then get a little bit more than one.
Goodlatte has a bill that gets the 25, and I think that would be important, and also has money that they'll put aside to guarantee that'll go there. There'll be a trigger to pay for it if, in fact, they don't actually, if a Congress tries to defund it. So I just think that there's both plans. If the president says to their face, I will back both these plans, they believe it'll get out of the House, and maybe with all these senators in red states looking to get reelected, maybe they'll get up to 60 votes. But in the meantime, there's going to be a provision in one of the plans that deals with separation when it comes to the flood of illegals who are coming to our border right now. Staggering to think that there are 12,000 kids who have come to our border, 10,000 without parents. And if we don't do something to stem the tide, there are average 250 kids per day in recent weeks coming to our border. And people have the audacity to blame ICE or Border Patrol for this issue. There's got to be a solution to this issue, but they're not the bad guys.
Well, you know, no one wants these kids separated from their parents. We're all parents. Could you imagine if you're trying to give your kid a better life and then you're put in a detention center and your child is crying for you in a room full of strangers? No one wants that. We're all sympathetic to it. And I know that if you commit a crime, you still go to prison. If you robbed a bank, you're going to go to prison. You're going to be pulled away from your family. This is a little different in the fact that there is the sympathy issue. These are people coming to try to give their kids a better life, but they are breaking the law, and we have to protect our kids too. We don't want MS-13 going across the border and coming and killing our children. So you have to, everyone wants the same thing. It's just we've got to come up with a solution. Our lawmakers in Washington, now they're holding this in their hand. The president tried to offer them an immigration bill. It even protected DACA. It protected even more than DACA, and the Democrats didn't vote for that because the president says they were obstructing. So they need to sit down together. They need to come up with a solution so these parents either stay with their kids or we send them back to their country and tell them how to come in the correct way.
Right, because there's been according to Kirstjen Nielsen yesterday, there's been a 325% increase in unaccompanied alien kids in this country. And Brian just pointed out, of the 12,000 children that the Department of Homeland Security has in custody, 10,000 of them were brought to this country alone. In other words, somebody on the other side of our border thought, okay, the easy pass way to get into the United States is to look like we're a family.
Right.
And so they bring these kids in. And that is one of the reasons why Tom Homan, acting ICE director, says, blame the parents.
These parents themselves are using these children as pawns to gain entry to the United States, knowing that we can't detain them. And as far as the separation of families are concerned, you have to put the blame on the parents. They are choosing to enter between the ports of entry. They know they will be separated, but they want to blame the government when we were forced to do that. So let's put the blame where it lies, not on the fine men and women of the Border Patrol and ICE. We're enforcing the law.
So Senator Ted Cruz has got a plan. He saw this horror. It's at his border in Texas. He says it's called the Protect Kids and Parents Act. He's horrified by what he saw, but he understands that they're in an impossible position. It's not our fault that people are welling up at our borders. It's a series of failed states from Mexico to Honduras to El Salvador who are just saying, I have Bolivia. I have no choice.